So hello and welcome to today's webinar, Insurance Providers Learn How to Drive Total Business Value from Your HubSpot, brought to you by Goose Digital and HubSpot. A quick overview of what we'll be covering in the next 30 minutes. We'll do some quick introductions, then we'll talk about what is happening in today's insurance marketing landscape, including the proliferation of platforms and data and the integration questions that this poses. Then we'll share our recommendations on what is required to build a growth-focused marketing plan. After that, we'll walk through a demo of HubSpot that will show you how this best-of-breed platform can enable your marketing, sales, and service teams. We'll then talk about the resources that are required to be successful in this environment, and we'll finish up with some Q&A. So if you do have any questions during the webinar, please drop them into the question box. We'll do our best to address them here and follow up with any ones that we don't have a chance to answer. Just a reminder that everyone who registers for the webinar will receive a link with the presentation. I'm Robin Kroll, and I lead the Data and Insights practice here at Goose Digital. Joining me today is Rebecca Phillips, who is a Channel Account Manager at HubSpot, and Jen Pugsley, who is the VP of Customer Success, also at Goose Digital. A little bit about Goose Digital. We are Canada's leading marketing automation agency, and we specialize in the insurance industry. Our expertise spans across the world's best marketing automation platforms, where we help brokers, carriers, and MGAs strategically plan and execute profitable digital marketing. We believe that the marketing automation platform is at the center of all modern marketing departments and is fundamental to executing a successful digital marketing strategy. We do work with other industries such as finance, technology, and manufacturing, and this enables us to bring other best practices and innovations into the insurance industry. We've been involved with the insurance industry now for almost 5 years, and we see that this participation is very important for our continued learning, for gathering information on trends for our customers, not to mention that we do love how much fun this industry likes to have, particularly at events. And we're really hoping to start seeing many of you in person very soon. Our technology strategy is to partner with best-of-breed platforms across the MarTech stack. And we're really excited about our partnership with HubSpot, as they are a recognized leader in their respective sector. HubSpot is continuously investing in new features and functionality, which ensures that our clients are able to be at the forefront of their digital marketing. I'll now hand it over to Rebecca to tell us a little bit about HubSpot.
Hey, thank you, Robin. So HubSpot is a CRM platform that's powerful, that's easy to use, and really our goal is to create delightful customer experiences and to have a delightful time doing it. And the way HubSpot works is we have all the tools, we have the integrations that you need for marketing, for sales, for content management, and for customer service. And we do this through different hubs that you can turn on all at once or one at a time or combinations at a time. We have the marketing hub, the sales hub, the service hub, the CMS hub, and the operations hub. And as a company, our mission is really to help businesses grow with a conscience and succeed with a soul. So you can do that all with Inbound. And that's why we've created an actual ecosystem that's uniting software, education, and community to help businesses grow better every day. And so a little bit about myself. I work hand in hand with our certified solutions partners like Goose Digital to identify how and if HubSpot can help their clients grow better. Personally, I have about 20 years in sales and marketing experience, and prior to HubSpot, I actually used to sell an industry-specific software. And what I've learned over time is that the beauty of a CRM like HubSpot is that it's highly customizable. Our software engineering team is really quite large and rapidly innovating our platform every day. And our customer service is the best, just absolutely top notch. And I do find this to be a stark contrast to a lot of industry-specific tools. That's one of the reasons why I'm really excited about giving you a sneak peek into HubSpot today and showing how this tool is revolutionizing the insurance industry with tools that nurture and enhance customer and broker relationships.
Thanks, Rebecca. Hi, everyone. Nice to see some of you back here. I'm Jen Pugsley. I've been with Goose Digital for about 7 years, and I work closely with carriers, brokers, and MGAs globally now. So nice to be back today. So it's no secret that marketing has evolved. While COVID has accelerated this rate of change, the shifts we've experienced over the last 2 years particularly have already been set in motion. These include the increased reliance on digital channels to drive awareness for B2B and B2C consumers, which has become increasingly competitive. Successful insurance providers have learned that it's not this build it and they will come type of play, but requires a marketing strategy with messaging and value propositions that speak to target audiences across several lines of business. The other thing is that user expectations, oh, one slide back, Mark. All good. User expectations have also risen significantly, whether in new business or service lens. Insurance customers, brokers, and agents are demanding an anywhere, anytime, seamless experience, but all the while when it's most convenient for them to do so. From information gathering to purchasing, sales, servicing, and claims, they're demanding ease of use, easy to understand, and all of the guidance along the way, which is, what they've always been accustomed to. For many insureds, insurance remains a complex product. So this provides many opportunities to educate, remove friction with consumers and brokers wherever possible. There was a recent 2021 study that we highlighted at IBAO that still 25% of Canadian insurance customers only 25% of Canadian insurance customers are happy with the level of proactive and personalized communications that they receive from their provider. So this is very likely similar to the US market as well. But really, I think this is a lot of what we've been hearing, and this isn't really new information. We've been hearing a lot of the same stuff over the last 6 years. What we have been seeing as of late, though, is number one, a large need for authentic quality content for target audiences. And this is, this is because you need to be able to cut through the noise. There is just so much noise, and particularly in the last 24 months. So this content should be made up of the stories you tell about the people you've helped. So that's brokers, agents, or the end insured. We've seen a drastic increase in volume and the need for video and educational type content. Two, really understanding or making an effort to understand the quality and longevity of every lead that you buy. So we're going to touch on this later on, but if you're running lead generation, it's important to bake in customer lifetime value into your investment calculations. After all, you've paid for this lead, and at some point in the journey, or you've paid for the lead at some point in the journey, and holistically looking at the total investment over total value is going to be important for your measurement. Up here, we have multi-channel, so like at any time, anywhere, but it's not just multi-channel that's important. What we wanted to highlight today is that not all channels are the same. So a strategy that is deployed on Google, for example, will and can perform completely different than on Facebook or email. We hear a lot of things like, let's see how this performs on Google before trying Facebook. This is not an apples to apples comparison, even right down to the prospect's buying or search intent. So really the root issue is seeing performance by channel. And the only way to really do that is to test realistic budgets and strategies, learn and optimize from there. Having a platform like HubSpot will give you a nice dashboard view of this. And Rebecca's going to actually show you that dashboard a bit later on. So it's not all about lead gen and net new names. Focus on things like policy growth, book growth, and loyalty strategies that generate revenue as well. Again, if you have a platform like HubSpot and you're not deploying customer marketing or internal growth marketing strategies today, you're missing opportunities and not stretching your platform investments. Insurance is an extremely competitive vertical. If you're a small outfit on this webinar today, focus on trying to reach your most ideal audience and spend some time thinking about your market share in the space, because casting too wide is going to be very expensive. Lastly, right size your expectations with your budgets and make an effort to understand what is table stakes or business as usual in marketing versus what is growth marketing. Certainly Goose Digital can also help you in this area. So I'm going to pass this over to Robin to touch on the data and integration part of our session today.
Thanks, Jen. So the anytime, anywhere lead and customer strategy that Jen just mentioned has resulted in a significant increase in the number and complexity of platforms in play in the insurance ecosystem. And I'm sure many of you on this webinar here today are experiencing just that. So what that means is that there's a lot more data which insurance providers now need to collect, store, and manage in order to understand the customer or broker, their interests, where they are within their journey, and be able to attribute revenue to the right sources, something that's become increasingly important when you're looking at driving profitable and strategic growth. In a perfect world, all these platforms would integrate seamlessly, but we all know we don't live in a perfect world. So we don't have that single customer or broker view every time. And part of the reason for that is that many of these platforms were not designed to be open and play well within the ecosystem. But the good news is that there are many tools available today, such as APIs, data extracts, reports, and custom integrations, which do enable insurance providers to both ingest and export data within and across many of these platforms. So leveraging these tools with an eye to specific use cases versus waiting for that integration nirvana is really the most efficient way forward. And this is certainly the approach that we take at Goose Digital. And this approach and this philosophy enables us to build, execute, and measure data-driven use cases for our insurance clients. And these include things like nurturing broker engagement, quote reminders, automated renewal flow, and customer cross-selling, all use cases that do require data from multiple different platforms. And that allows us to be able to deliver for our clients both B2B and B2C marketing strategies. So going into 2022, insurance companies, MGAs, brokers need to be focused on digital strategies that are focused on growth by building a holistic marketing plan. So whether you're in a B2B environment where you're marketing to brokers or agents, or B2C where your focus is on the end consumer, any MarTech platforms that you are considering need to fit in a plan to better market to your target audience. They need to be focused on driving value for your business. And that may include making it easier for your sales team to stay top of mind for your end consumer, reducing the manual effort of ensuring customer contact goes way beyond happening just at renewal time, and removing the friction on both the consumer as well as the insurance provider in delivering educational and value-driven service. Each stage of the marketing funnel is critical to the overall success of your programs. What's important to understand is that when you're measuring the effectiveness of your investment, you need to analyze the right performance indicators for each section and understand what role they play. So an example would be trying to connect several brand awareness tactics directly to the bottom of the funnel without considering or implementing the other strategies and work effort that are necessary for the other stages. The marketing funnel doesn't end when you complete the sale, and that's really important to remember, and I think Jen touched on this point a little bit earlier. So Additional premiums that result from multi-year renewals or cross-sell, upsell additional products should be looked at when you consider this. So when you're looking at return on investment, so again, this is a metric that's become even more important in this industry. You should look at what you've invested to acquire your customer and then the lifetime return. So including the renewal premium, as well as other policy premiums included. But in order to do this successfully, you need the right platforms. So I'm now going to hand over to Rebecca, who will take us through a demo of the HubSpot platform so you can actually see how HubSpot can enable just that.
All right, thank you, Robin. So HubSpot CRM is powered by automation. And using our workflow tool, you can achieve what we call one-to-many automation for internal and external communication, as well as for managing the CRM itself. What we're looking at right here is a workflow which is managing both internal and external communication when somebody fills out a form on your website to assign that quote request to a producer. So every workflow begins with some sort of trigger. And in HubSpot, this trigger can be based on any property in the system. So this can be a contact property, a company property, dealer, form submission, page that they've viewed on your website, particular button they've clicked on your website, different ads they've interacted with. It's really quite endless. There's a lot you can do. In this instance, we're going to use a form submission. Once you set that enrollment trigger, you can then add actions that you want to have happen. And so you'll see what we've added in this particular workflow is to rotate the record to a deal owner. And in this instance, it would be a producer, either Mark or Katie. And you can round robin between these people. You can set it up to rotate between teams, or you can assign it to just one person, however you'd like that to be assigned. You can do it by territory. You can do it by zip code. In terms of internal communication, you can then send an email to that contact to say, hey, you've just been assigned a contact. It's time for you to follow up, reach out. And that's not uncommon for people to receive an email to say, hey, you now have a contact. But what is also, I think, important is belt and suspenders. So now you can also create a task in the CRM for Mark to follow up and make that contact. So it's not just an email, there's an actual to-do that's assigned. And then externally, you can send communication automatically to that prospect or contact who has filled out the form. And what's very cool is you can create if-then branches. So say somebody clicks the call to action or books a meeting with you right there from that email. In that case, maybe you enroll them into another workflow automatically to go through another set of nurture actions. But perhaps if they don't click that link, maybe you send them another email in a day or two to continue to encourage that contact to take the next step in the process. So this is an incredibly powerful tool. This is just really scratching the surface. I want to give you a sense of some of that automation that you can do internally. I will say there are some things you can do. We call it triggering a webhook, where you can actually push data from HubSpot into another tool as part of this automation, so long as that other tool has an open API, right? And it has an open door, so you can push that data into it. You can format data, you can custom code actions if there's not an action here that you see that you want to be able to do. So let's take a look at the contact record so you can see what that looks like. It is a CRM. Within the contact record, on the left-hand side, you'll see all of the properties assigned to this contact name, email address, and there's standard properties that come with HubSpot. It's actually quite easy to create custom properties as well. So maybe you have your last contacted date, your contact owner, where they are in their life cycle stage. And for the insurance industry specifically, you can have carrier, you can have policy type, you can have the policy number, the renewal date, deductible, liability, and so forth. And any of these properties, you can use those to trigger automation. What do you want to have happen with this information? In the center is an activity timeline. And you can filter across the top, or I'll just give you a glimpse here of some of the things you can filter by. HubSpot allows you to integrate your email with HubSpot. So all of that communication gets tracked and logged in this activity timeline, your meetings, your notes, your tasks, and then any of that contact activity. So pages they're viewing on their your website, if they're interacting with sales documents that you've uploaded, now you're tracking to see when they're viewing it, marketing emails, forms they're filling out, feedback submissions, call to actions, ads, all that good stuff. And then different updates based on integrations or memberships on different lists or different lifecycle stages, deals that they're part of. On the right-hand side here, you're going to see all the associations. So the company where this person works, any deals that they might be part of, if they're part of a support ticket or a post-sale process ticket. You can put attachments here, so maybe PDFs or JPEGs. And then contact attribution, this is pretty cool. So you're able to see within HubSpot, how did this person come to be a contact in your CRM? And there's different models you can use to attribute that. So was it through a website page? Was it through interacting with a landing page? Did it come in through integration? Which is actually a nice transition into a little conversation about integrations. So HubSpot has the HubSpot app marketplace, and we have apps that we have built, integrations to sync up different tools in a bi-directional way. So data flows to and from these tools in and out of HubSpot. There are, as you can see, 82 different ones here. You can look at some popular apps that have been created by HubSpot, but we also have third parties who create integrations out of the box that you can use. And then if an integration does not exist, because HubSpot has an open API, you are able to custom build integrations that you would need. Another form of automation that I'd love to show you today is sequences. So sequences is what I would consider more of a one-to-one email automation, where you create a series of email templates, and because your email is integrated with HubSpot, you can send this from your inbox to one or many people's inboxes. And because the data lives in the CRM, it pulls in, when you put in the email address for who you're sending to, it'll pull in their first name, maybe where they work, their phone number, your meeting link. And then there's placeholders for you to customize, personalize this communication. And you can do that with all of these emails before you send them. It's an amazing game changer, time saver, something I use every day as a salesperson here at HubSpot. And if they don't respond to the first email 3 days later or 2 days later, the second email will come out. A task will be created for me to remember to reach out and pick up the phone with personal touch, make that call, have that conversation, leave that voicemail, whatever that might be. And then if I don't stop the workflow, or if somebody hasn't responded, the fourth email will come out, the fifth email will come out. And what I find is that it's usually the third or fourth email that I'm seeing a response. Someone's booking time on my calendar and moving forward. It's not the first or second. So this is something that's going to help make sure you're not leaving money on the table, quite frankly, and following up enough to actually make sure that that lead has an opportunity to connect with you. I'm going to show you a couple reports here. One is the traffic analytics report. This is pretty powerful because you're able to look at, there's a lot of things you can look at up top here, but we're going to look at the sources and look at sources by session. So how many people are actually coming and visiting your website from paid search, from email marketing, from organic social, from paid social, and how many of those people are actually converting into contacts, filling out forms, becoming contacts in the CRM. And more importantly, how many of those people are actually becoming customers? So you can look and say, okay, great, paid search, we can see we have the most people coming to our website, over 240,000, but it looks like direct traffic is actually creating the most customers. And so maybe we need to work on increasing this number and making that marketing investment, maybe through content strategy and conversion paths. So it can be very powerful in terms of thinking, where do you want to invest in growing your business? And to that point, multi-touch revenue attribution reports are extremely powerful. This is a dashboard, so you can create a dashboard with any series of different reports, and you can actually pull in reports from other tools if you want to embed their URL. But this specifically looks at revenue tied to content, marketing assets, different channels, and campaigns. So you can see which campaigns, which channels are actually tied to the dollars and where is the revenue coming from. So how much of it is coming from our sales team directly bringing these leads to the table versus email marketing or coming in through integration or direct traffic or paid search, et cetera. And so this is another way that you can really get granular to say, what is most effective in my marketing strategy for creating dollars in my business? So with that, I'm actually going to pass it over to Jen. I'll say we're really just scratching the surface right here. I'm happy to schedule a more personalized demo to take a closer look and a deeper dive with each of you. But let's pass it over to Jen so she can talk a little bit about roles and expertise.
Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, really just scratching the surface. It's a big platform, and there's lots of amazing stuff and visibility in there. We wanted to just quickly talk about the skill sets and teams when you're kind of embarking this or looking at your 2022 plans. We always say that digital marketing in all of its facets takes a village. Gone are the days when a one-person marketing team can really lay a strong digital foundation, impact growth, derive and articulate performance insights all on their own. This is simply because there are too many factors at play, jobs that require specialized skills and channels that are changing on a dime. Understanding what roles to source internally and externally is helpful. So if we start with, for example, internal resources, they're going to have a direct and ongoing access to business knowledge, the company's developments and direction, and more importantly, the CEO and sales. However, managing resources are challenging, from hiring to ongoing development and education to turnover, which we've probably all experienced. And one of the things that we see with internal is that if you lack digital and marketing knowledge, it adds even more complexity, particularly when you're trying to assess and review performance and ROI and really understand success. External partners, on the other hand, they will bring a fresh, unbiased, and innovative perspective to growing and keeping business in today's online world. They will be experts, they'll have multifaceted skill sets, and they're typically committed to staying ahead of industry changes and trends. However, contracting the majority of your needs, particularly around driving marketing operations, can get really frustrating. The root of this frustration is almost always within connecting marketing outcomes to business impact on an ongoing basis. Lack of direct connection with the sales team, or issues arising from things like siloed departments or data sources. And this is why we believe in building a hybrid is the smart way to go. So maybe we can just take a look at an example. So this is roles and structures, structure to consider. This is not to say that you can't shift roles and responsibilities or projects within these, but as long as the competency is there. So if we look at internal roles, 100% the most important point on this slide is leadership in the CEO needs to be aligned with the digital and marketing vision, and they also need to understand the path to success on an ongoing basis. So definitely that's an internal priority. VP of Biz Dev, it's important to have this person aligned with what revenue marketing is responsible for driving, how, when, what the quality's like, and lead to close cycles. Marketing operations, we think typically things will either stall or slow down, or, quite frankly, really fall apart without a champion or driver internally. Depending on the type of vendor, you can outsource some of this responsibility. We would just say make sure that they have a direct line to leadership's vision, and of course, again, sales. Same with content. You can certainly outsource types of content, work with a vendor that knows your business. This will give a significant advantage and lessen the workload on internal folks. Again, work with experts here. It's not wise to cut corners in where we're at in coming of 2022. Internal roles, we believe that these are the best type things to outsource. So definitely you can outsource marketing strategy, data strategy, and an analyst. Marketing automation manager, that's a big one. Marketing automation, requires a skill set, so a specialized skill set. So that's definitely one that you don't need to have in-house. Digital marketing specialist and digital marketing designer. These are good roles to outsource. Together, this is definitely a winning team. Rebecca, maybe you want to weigh in a little bit here from, a platform perspective and time to value, and before we get into some of our questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Just really quickly, I will say HubSpot has an onboarding team when customers purchase directly from HubSpot. HubSpot teaches customers how to use HubSpot. I will say I have seen both, and I work in the partner world where partners like Goose Digital onboard new customers to HubSpot, and the time to value is significantly faster with a partner, mostly because they've done this before, they know what they're doing, and they can get you set up very quickly, especially if your partner knows your industry well and has done this with other customers.
Yeah, I think if you can take a lot of the guesswork out of it, excuse me, then I think your chances of success right off the bat is way higher.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks, Jen and Rebecca. That was a great discussion. I know we're running a little bit late, so maybe we'll just do one or two quick questions. The first one I have is for Rebecca. Pretty straightforward. Can HubSpot handle transactional emails?
Absolutely, yes. Transactional email and dedicated IP. So that's being able to send emails of transactional nature, receipts, emergency information, things like that, to contacts who have opted out of marketing communication.
That's great, thank you. And Jen, I'm going to throw this one over to you. We actually hear this one a lot. Part of our marketing is still face-to-face, calls, meetings. So how do we integrate these non-digital communications into a digital platform?
Yes, so offline communication still needs to be part of how you do business. Even in our world, it's critical to the relationship. So start by automating the touch points through your platform that makes sense or are considered to be low touch. I think, Rebecca, you threw out a stat yesterday that would be somewhere around 20 to 40% should be automated. This will provide efficiencies and significantly free up resource. When you incorporate workflows and integration that bring offline touch points into a singular view, like we saw, you can measure your efforts, and it can actually inform a lot of what you're doing on the service side. A little example would be integrate alerts to sales, to meet with someone or phone them, or again, going back to that triage scenario for underwriting submissions or quotes that need attention right away. That's just one example of many.
Great, thank you, Jen. All right, we're running a little bit late, but thank you everybody for staying with us. And on behalf of the team at Goose Digital and HubSpot, we want to thank everyone for joining us on the webinar today. I know we had a lot of things that we talked about, and hopefully you've learned something. And if there are any additional questions, or you're looking for a demo, or you want to have a conversation with Goose Digital, we would love to do that. And a reminder that everybody will be receiving a copy of this presentation in their inbox in the next couple days. Thanks everyone for joining us.